Hello, my dear children. I hope you all are safe and indoors. The person whom I am about to talk about today actually needs no introduction, since I bet that almost everyone knows this great man. However, this being a part of our English syllabus, I will have to give you a deeper insight to his childhood days. So here I am, ready to narrate stories related to this iconic figure who is also known as the Missile Man and People's President. Yes, you are absolutely right. We are going to start this extract from his biography titled Wings of Fire. And the great man is none other than A.P.J Abdul Kalam or Avul Pakir Jainulabdin Abdul Kalam. He was a great scientist and the 11th President of India. He was born in a middle class Muslim family in the year 1931 in the island town of Rameshwaram, Tamil Nadu. His father Jainulabdin was not highly educated but was a generous man. He mentions here that his father provided his family with the basic necessities of a comfortable life. Kalam owes his gratitude to his father, for through him he inherited self-discipline and honesty, and deep kindness from his mother Ashiamma. He talks of how his home was always filled with outsiders who came to eat, as his parents were giving and always opened doors for the deprived. Well, Kalam and his siblings, 3 brothers and 1 sister, along with their parents, lived in their ancestral house that was situated in the Mosque Street in Rameshwaram, Tamil Nadu. The Second World War broke out in the year 1939 when Kalam was just 8 years. For reasons unknown to him, a sudden demand for tamarind seeds rose in the market, and so he used to collect them and sold it for 1 anna, which for him was a lot of money then. His brother-in-law Jalaluddin would often tell him stories about war, and he would be fascinated and later try to trace the stories in the headlines of the newspaper called Dinamani. Since Rameshwaram was an isolated area, it was initially unaffected by war. However, after India joined Allied forces, a kind of state emergency was declared and the train halting or stoppage at Rameshwaram station was suspended. Hence, since the train did not stop at the station, the newspapers had to be bundled up and thrown out of the running or the moving train. This became a problem for Kalam's cousin, Samasuddin, who distributed newspapers in Rameshwaram. Samasuddin now needed a helper to collect those newspaper bundles which were thrown from the train. Hence, Kalam was chosen for this purpose, and this is how he started earning his first wage, which filled him with pride. Kalam now introduces us to his close friends. Ramanatha Shastri was the son of Pakshi Lakshmana Shastri, the high priest of Rameshwaram temple. Later, he took over the priesthood of this temple. Next is Aravindan, who went into business of arranging transport for visiting pilgrims. And last but not the least is Siva Prakasan, who became a catering contractor for Southern Railways. All three belonged to Orthodox Hindu Brahmin families, yet as children, none of them felt any difference of their religious differences and upbringing. During the annual Sri Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony, Kalam's family arranged boats with a special platform for carrying idols of Lord from the temple to the marriage site, which was situated in the middle of the pond called Ramatirtha that was near his house. And as a child, he grew up listening to bedtime stories of Ramayana and the life of Prophet from his grandmother. All these prove that although they lived in a small town, they were never exposed to this harmony and disrespect and communal feelings. Brahmins did wear a sacred thread and the Muslims a cap to mark their religion, but never had they ever felt the difference until one day when Kalam was in 5th standard. A new teacher came to their class. On seeing Kalam seated in the front bench with Ramananda, he was reprimanded or scolded for having had dared to sit with someone who was, as per the teacher, of the upper social ranking. This made Kalam and his friend sad. His friend even cried on seeing Kalam rebuked this way. After reaching home, both the boys narrated their story to their respective fathers, to which Lakshmana Shastri, Ramanada's father, summoned the teacher and told him that he had no right to poison the minds of the young boys, and asked the teacher to apologize to Kalam or face the consequence of quitting his job. The teacher realized his mistake and sought for forgiveness from Kalam. On the whole, the small society of Rameshwaram was very rigid in terms of segregation or division of social groups. However, Kalam's science teacher, Sivasubramanya Iyer, who was a Brahmin and who had a very conservative wife, was a rebel. He used to spend time with Kalam and encourage him to pursue his higher studies and live at par with highly educated people of the cities. One day, he invited Kalam to dine with him for a meal, but his wife, who was horrified in seeing a Muslim boy, refused to serve him in her kitchen. Iyer was not upset with his wife, so he served Kalam with his own hands and ate beside him while his wife watched them eat from behind the kitchen. While leaving for his home, Iyer once again invited Kalam to join him for another meal next weekend. When Kalam hesitated, Iyer told him that once you decide to change the system, such problems have to be confronted or faced. On Kalam's next visit to Iyer Sir's house, he was welcomed by Sir's wife, who took him to their kitchen and fed him with her own hands. Later, the Second World War was over and India's freedom was near. And Gandhiji declared that Indians will build their own India. The whole country was filled with unrivaled optimism, and so was Kalam, who asked his father for permission to leave Rameshwaram and study at the district headquarters in Ramanathapuram. His father allowed him by telling him that since you have to grow, you have to go. Just like seagulls fly alone across the sun and without a nest. And when Kalam's mother hesitated, his father quoted the poet Khalil Gibran and told her that children are not your children, but the children of life, longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And that as parents, you may give your children your love, but not your thoughts, because they have their own thoughts. Such was the story of this great man called A.P.J Abdul Kalam. I actually enjoyed collecting these little pictures from many sources on the internet, and I hope you enjoyed his childhood episodes that created this man that he went on to become. Thank you and have a safe day.